Welcome to the Skirted Professional Podcast, a place where women of all different walks of life come together to share their journeys and wisdom they've learned along the way. We're so excited that you're part of this community. We hope you always leave this space feeling encouraged, inspired, and a little less alone. The Skirted Professional is brought to you by C Saucy, a medical apparel company that specializes in modern scrub skirt sets for the working woman. Their goal is to give every woman the option to wear a skirt in their workplace without compromising the comfort, style, or functionality of their scrubs. You can check them out at csaucy.com. That's CSAUCY.com. All right, without further ado, let's get to today's episode. Hi, Courtney. Welcome to the Skirted Professional Podcast.
Hello, it's very good to be here. I'm excited.
We're so excited to have you here and in our space of encouraging ladies in all professions. And we know you have a very interesting career that we cannot wait to dive in and hear about it. So again, thanks for making time for us.
It is honestly my pleasure. I am very honored. And like I said, I feel a little bit inadequate, but let's just be a fun conversation nonetheless.
It will be, absolutely. We just want to hear your story. And so let's start there. Walk us through Courtney Toliver before social media and, when you first started your platform, how it took off, all of the above. We want to hear as much as you're willing to share.
Okay, well, I may share a lot because I have a tendency to
That's
overshare a little
awesome.
bit. But I grew up in a very small town in Oklahoma. And I was in 4-H and FFA and all of those things, which is
Fun.
funny now, but I value that part of my life a lot. I
Yes.
loved it, and, because of that part of my life, I ended up transferring, so I went to a small private school. It was actually our church school. We had, like, 35 students, so
Awesome.
I went my whole life until sophomore year, but you couldn't be an FFA without going to a public school. So that is why I transferred over to a public school my sophomore year. And so 3 years I went to a 6A public school. So I went from going to school with like 35 students to like,
Wow.
yeah, a few thousand. But so
Wow.
that was a big transition in my life. But senior year is whenever me and my now husband met, and he kind of transitioned my goals because you have all these things
Sure.
that you want to do with your life. And then when we met and really got serious, I just kind of changed those little goals a little bit because of I wanted to, not because he made me.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so I went to a small community college and ended up during like I think it was my second year, I took a semester off because I was going to go help with my husband's sister's wedding. And then after that semester, I didn't go back the next semester. And
Yeah,
then you know how that is.
I
Um,
understand. Yeah.
so I talked to my parents and I said, everyone, I followed all these bloggers and all this stuff. It was so big. I think it was 2015 when I started it. But I followed all these bloggers and I told my parents, I was like, I really think that I can start a blog and I can make money from it. And I think that's what I want to do. Because I
Wow.
never, you know how some girls just have something they just want to do all their life.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
everyone would be like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I'm like, I don't want to work.
I don't know.
I don't want to. I've never was career driven. I wanted to be, but I just
Sure.
was not that type of person. So I was
Yeah.
like, I have no idea what I want to do. So I was going for business management was going to be my major. But anyway, so I talked to my parents and I got their okay and they said, "We will support you. We think that you'll do a great job at it. We'll do it." So they gave me the go ahead and I started a website. Um and I remember like starting, putting the first picture on Instagram, and I still like
Yeah.
vividly remember it. I was sitting on my front porch and I had this long pleated turquoise skirt on, and I was like, I'm
Aw.
starting a blog. So that's how it all started. And I really was posting a lot about skincare at the beginning, with fashion as well. But it kind of morphed just to mainly fashion. And then it kind of morphed from that blog to mainly just on Instagram because
Okay.
you probably know, like, more of our generation, we want instant gratification,
Sure.
and people don't like to read blogs as much anymore. So I just kind of went to Instagram full time, and that's what I'm doing now is continuing that, and that
Wow.
led to now having the online clothing store. So it's been a gradual process, but
Sure.
it's been a great one. I'm very thankful where I'm at today.
Wow. So when you approached your parents that I want to start a blog, there were people doing that back then, but it just wasn't so popular and prevalent, and
Mhm,
especially to
mhm,
make money from it.
mhm.
So what were your hobbies? I know you mentioned skincare. Was that kind of your driving force of I think I can start the blog based on skincare to get me started?
Yeah, and I mean, I really was like a combination of fashion too, because I really wouldn't post that much fashion content on the blog. It was mostly skincare on the blog, and
Okay.
then like outfit of the days over on Instagram. But I loved skincare. My aunt got me started in it, and I just loved it. And
Yeah,
I would post about, products that I was loving or not loving or whatever. And I just really enjoyed that side of it. And I've always really liked photography, but never enough to make that like my profession. So that
sure.
was kind of a little piece of it was, the fun side of just editing the pictures and stuff. So yeah,
Very
I mean, it
cool.
was just kind of a mixture of those two things at the beginning, but yeah, so that's how that came
Wow.
about.
Well, I mean, you are absolutely an entrepreneur through and through, and I
Whoa.
hope you realize that, but teaching yourself these skills and cultivating skill sets that you just weren't taught anywhere else. It was just a passion turned into now hopefully a money-making career for you, which
Mhm.
is kind of how this day and age where things are headed. So, you
Right.
know, fast forward now, you've had years of experience now cultivating this Instagram page. What was kind of the switch for you when it was just writing the blog, starting the Instagram page, posting outfit of the day pictures?
Mhm.
Where was the switch when it became a full-on business for you?
Now that you say that, I think it's funny because Snoga Athletics was probably that main switch because she was my first paid collaboration.
Okay.
I remember my first because she asked me how much I charged, and I never had
Wow.
anyone ask me that before. So I was
Wow.
just, doing everything for free product. And I mean, I just have never been the type to throw myself out there and just be like, yeah, this is how much I charge. I don't know if I don't value myself enough for that, but I just was
Oh,
not charging anything. I was like, maybe
sure.
one day, I will. But for now, I just really want to grow and focus on growing and stuff, and one day I'll be able to charge. So
Wow.
she, asked me how much I charged, and I remember I was like, "I don't know. I don't know what to charge," no one talks about this stuff freely, which I wish people would more,
Yes.
but I was just like, "I don't know what to charge," so I asked, my husband and my parents, and they were telling me, really high prices, and I was like, "I can't do it." I was like, "I'm gonna tell her $75." And so I told her $75, and I remember sending it. I was so nervous because I thought it was gonna be
Oh,
way too much. And at this point, I think I probably was around 7,000 followers is when
okay.
we started working together. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, so I told her 75. So we started out with $75. But it was just so funny because that gave me kind of a little bit of courage in it. So
Yeah.
I started. That was my collaboration fee was $75, and I did that for the longest time. And my husband would be like, "You need to go up on your prices. You've got like
More
I don't remember
followers.
how much, but yeah, I was growing pretty steadily, and so I was just like, "I don't think I can, I don't think I can," because I felt so bad asking for more money. But eventually, my husband really helped me in that area because he is so business minded, like through
Sure.
and through. He's a numbers guy, and it's so funny because I don't have an ounce of that in me. So God knew what He was doing whenever He paired us together. But yeah, so He helped me raise my prices, and it's funny now because now Snow Athletics is still my main source of income from the blog
Okay. Wow.
since she reached out to actually no I reached out to her about designing a skirt for her
So
and
cool.
collaborating on something and earning commission from those products. And it's so funny because I sent the message and I was like so nervous about it. And then she messaged me back and she was like, "We've actually been thinking about asking you this." So
Oh,
I was so
wow.
excited about that. But yeah, that has been a huge blessing. So with the money that I was making from mainly the Snow Athletics collaborations and the launches that we were doing every once in a while, I saved all of that up. That the checks that I got from them, and I ended up that's what I used to start my now clothing line. So
So
I
cool.
was like, it's just so cool how it all came back
It
around. But
is, absolutely. So give us a plug right here with your clothing line. Tell us how we can shop it, kind of what the pieces are.
well, it's currently I'm just doing wholesale clothing, so it's a curated collection of things that I just absolutely love. And eventually, I want to start designing, but there's little
Awesome.
stepping stones that I have in my life, and I'm like, this is one of
Yes.
them. Like something I've been wanting to do for a while because I knew that that would be a great way, to save up enough to where I can start designing. But man, it's expensive, as you know,
It
just
is,
with
yes.
samples and all of that. But so yes, I have an online clothing store that I started a few months ago, and that right now is my full-time job. I'm working out of my house and I absolutely
Awesome.
love it. And I hope that it grows big enough to where I can move out, but then again, I'm really enjoying having it in my house because
Yes.
we the upstairs we didn't originally have an upstairs on this house, but we floored it and we raised the roof to make it an upstairs. We didn't really have anything up there, so
Wow.
we just made it my office and my inventory space. So that worked out really nicely.
Awesome. And
But
it's so convenient to
yeah,
be able to just go upstairs and fill orders and
yes.
yes.
Oh my
It's not
goodness,
fun bringing
yes.
stuff downstairs or
No,
bringing
it's
inventory
not.
up. I remember those days.
No, it's not at all. I actually asked my husband the other day, I was like, there's windows upstairs, and I said, "Is there any way we could create like a
Dry.
chute and like have like a slide where I could just put the packages out of the window?"
Oh,
He's
that's
like,
awesome.
"Oh," he's like, "We honestly might could do something like that." And I was like, "Please," because I really don't like carrying these, and I have the
Yes.
steepest stairs ever. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
one of these days I'm just gonna eat it, but thankfully I
Oh,
haven't
no.
fell yet carrying all
Even, like,
my
e
packages.
the dog, like, playground accessories that they have, it's like the big tunnel for a dog. You could just
Yes.
it's multifunctional. Reggie
Oh,
could
yes.
he could s play with it, and then you could put it out the window and just slide things down
That
there.
that is a great idea. I need to just order one of those today on Amazon
That's
when we
right.
get through. Put a big, like, shipping cart, the little roll
Yes.
carts at the bottom. You gave me a great idea.
Sea Saucy originated in my basement, and it was
Mhm.
an unfinished basement, so it was just this dark, I don't know, wet hole, it felt like, and the girl that I had coming shipping my orders, we laugh about it now because she was like, "If you ever get a house that you have a finished basement, I'm gonna kill you," because we never finished it until we were moving
Uh-huh.
out of it. But I remember bringing boxes after boxes down the steps, bringing orders up,
Mhm.
and you're right, it was like my life was on the line multiple times a
It's
day.
scary. And especially when you have a dog, oh my goodness, he like zooms,
Goes before you.
around my feet all the time. And I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna break something trying to go down these stairs with these packages. But yeah, we have been blessed so far to not have any
Yes,
accidents.
absolutely. Well,
But I
that is
really do
so
love it upstairs. It's so nice
yeah,
and convenient.
that's so exciting that one thing has led to the other, and now you're on your first stepping stone of your headed towards your end goal, which I can tell is you
Mhm.
want to design and have your own
Mhm.
clothing line, which I have full confidence that you will for sure get there. And
Oh, thank you.
that's very, very cool. So, going back to the influencing side, I have several questions and I'm trying to get my thoughts together here.
Mhm.
But
Go ahead.
tell us how it is to have your life just exposed.
Mm.
I see the mirror behind you, I see your living room. I feel like I know exactly where you're sitting in your home. And it's a comforting thing because you are a
Mhm.
very natural, I feel like a very trustworthy influencer.
Thank
But
you.
the exposure of having every part of your life kind of out there for people to give opinions on. Can you
Mhm.
speak to how you've dealt with some of that?
Okay, of course. Honestly, it hasn't been difficult for me.
Good.
I think some people. it would be, but I'm naturally a very, very open person. I'm kind of an open book to a fault sometimes because I'm very trusting of people and I
Yeah,
just throw it all out there and I expect everyone to value that, but
sure.
sometimes they don't. But I haven't really had an issue with that. I have been so blessed. And I think honestly, it's because I say this with, like, 100% certainty, like, my followers are all such good people. Like,
Aw.
I haven't had I mean, of course, there's, been a few, but, like, I
Yes.
can count on probably on 2 hands the amount of, like, just truly hateful messages I've received.
Wow.
And that is a blessing because I see some people, some influencers, and I just feel so sorry for them because they get so much negativity. I'm
Yeah.
like, that would be so draining because
Yeah.
you think you're doing something good and you're throwing all this I mean, you're throwing your life out there on the line, like you said, and sharing your life, but then you get so much negative feedback from it. Like, I really do feel for people, but thankfully, I have been so blessed to not have a lot of negativity or just rude people. Like, there's just been a few but yeah, for the most part,
Wow.
people are very kind and I it makes it a lot easier to share pretty much
Yeah.
everything about your life when people are very kind about it. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think if I was getting a lot of negativity, I think it would probably make me draw back a little bit or
Sure.
something. Like that would probably affect me, but it really hasn't been hard. I mean, I don't know. I think when I have kids, it might be a little different
Yeah.
because I don't have that like mama bear instinct yet. So whenever I have kids, I don't know. I think I might have to like reassess a little bit with how
Sure.
much I want to share about them, just
Yeah.
because people can definitely be opinionated with,
Yes.
moms all have their opinions and they can be really opinionated on how you choose to parent your kids.
Sure.
So I may have a different, opinion on that in a few years, but as of right now, it has been so easy. And I mean, I love my Instagram because I have always made it a space where I can just kind of like freely share what I want and share what I want when
Yeah.
I want. Like, I have never put too much pressure on it because I
Good.
know myself and I know that I don't handle pressure very well.
Sure.
But I've always just kind of posted what I love. And sometimes, that's skincare, sometimes it's clothing, whatever, or
Yeah.
just anything like that. But yeah, so we'll see how it is with kids. But as of right now,
Yeah.
sharing it, I mean, pretty much everything in my life about my life is really not that big of a deal to me, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, I think that has to play into, like you said, you're just genuinely you. Everything you're sharing in your space is you're not trying to be someone else. And so it's not like your followers are trying to detect fraud in you or ingenuity. I don't know what that word is.
That's a difficult word.
I'm not going to try to say that one again.
I was gonna try to say, it and I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I can.
Uh, it's not like they're trying to detect you being non-genuine.
Disingenuous,
How about
yeah.
we do it that way?
Mhm.
And so I think you have cultivated that positive space, and I think that has kind of been on your shoulders to cultivate, and I'm not saying other influencers haven't, but
Right.
maybe topics they choose to deal with or companies they choose to align themselves with kind of puts them in a space where people would want to say something negative.
Mhm. I could see that, yeah. I know what you mean by that.
And everyone's got an opinion. You're
Mhm.
not gonna ever please anyone, but I'm
Mm.
thrilled to hear that it's been a very positive, experience for you.
It
That's
has, and I really am so thankful.
that's awesome. So when you met your husband, did you have a large following?
No, so we met in my senior year in high school, so I didn't start my blog see, I
That's
graduated
right.
in 2014. I didn't start my blog till, like, the end of 2015, I think it
Okay.
was.
So I was gonna say, was it like a prerequisite of, "Hey, if you marry me, like, I'm gonna be posting about our life," and, did you have to get his permission to post?
No, he truly doesn't care. He's just kind of like go with the flow. But I mean, he doesn't love to be in pictures.
Sure.
So I don't make him that much, but he yeah, he doesn't mind at all, honestly. he is so supportive and so
Oh,
encouraging. So
awesome.
I just know that I can pretty much, he'll be supportive of whatever I decide to do.
Yeah, that's a huge blessing. So walk
It
us through a
is.
day in the life of Courtney Toliver. So if you have company,
Hmm.
you have products showing up at your door, kind of go through the very beginning stages of what that looks like to partner with a company and promote their product.
So, Um, I really don't do as many collaborations as I used to do because, um, when you first start, of course, everything's so exciting and you're just
Yes.
like, yeah, I want all the free stuff. But now I am very selective with what I decide to promote and what I don't. But if a company emails me or DMs me, which most of them DM now, but if a company messages me on Instagram, they'll just be like, I have this product that we want promoted, and we think you would be a great fit. And if I think that I would be a great fit also, then I will say, here are my prices. And every so often, I'll still do a free product in exchange. Like it really just
Yeah,
depends on the company. Like there was one company I knew that they didn't really have the funds, which so I want to help every once in a while like that because
sure.
it's
Yeah,
just everyone started somewhere. But so I'll either accept or deny that, or sometimes I'll even say, unfortunately, that product, doesn't really align with me or whatever, but could I pick something else out? Because like I'll see something else that they have that I
yeah,
like or whatever. And sometimes they accept or sometimes they deny. But yeah, so they usually are um pretty what's the word? Open just to kind of whenever I want to post it. But whenever you're working with influencer companies, like, so I'm now a part of an affiliate company to where
okay,
I can get paid much more than I was getting paid with, like, just small boutiques and small brands
sure.
and stuff. So, what that looks like is you go and it's a website to where they have all their campaigns and you apply if you want to be a part of that campaign. So you already know
Okay,
what the product's going to be, you already know, and you give them the prices. And what's great about that, so it's been a few years now that I applied for that campaign, I mean, that program and got accepted. Well, what's great about that is they suggest the prices that you should
nice.
charge
Yeah,
based off of your analytics, based off of your followers, your likes, all
very
of that
cool.
stuff. So that's whenever it really helped me and kind of opened my eyes that I should be charging more than I was charging. So,
Sure.
that was awesome because I didn't feel guilty about asking people for that much money because it was like bigger companies, like
Yeah, yeah.
Dyson and all these companies that were
Wow.
on there. Like I do like Green Chef quite a bit because I really enjoy their meals. And I did like some blind companies, just things
Okay.
like that. But like I don't feel bad charging more for those because they're bigger
Right.
companies, and I know they have a
Yeah.
specific budget for their influencer campaigns. So anyway, that's what that looks like, and you basically submit your resume because you have all your analytics that they can see and what
Wow.
you've done in the past and all that, and they decide if you are a good fit for them. So I like that a lot
Hmm.
because it's it's just really professional, and you
Yeah.
definitely do get paid more, but I don't do them very often because I mean, they are ads, and
Yeah.
you can get too, spammy with ads if you're not careful. So you gotta have a good balance, I feel like. And I really tried to not overshare ads or anything like that. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you are doing this as a job, so you do
Yep.
have to do them every once in a while. But
Absolutely.
so anyway, yeah, that's just how that goes. But
So do they dictate what content they want from you?
pretty much so, but not um, specifically. So they'll say, I want one post, three Instagram stories, have to be 15 seconds each. They may say you have to mention the sale that's going on or, something like that. But they give you creative freedom as to like how
Awesome.
you want to shoot the pictures or the videos or whatever. And so far, I really haven't there's been one company that's asked me to reshoot, but I understood why. So they are pretty good about just accepting it, and then you have to submit it into that, in that portal on the website to get approved before you can post it on your Instagram. But
Okay.
so everything's like the ads and anything that's sponsored is usually taken like 2 weeks before it's
Okay.
actually posted.
So they go
But
through a whole approval process that would give time for edits or to reshoot, which hopefully doesn't
mhm.
happen. Okay, well
Mhm.
that's really interesting, and I love that this is such a field in an area where we just don't know a whole lot, and so
Mhm.
getting your insight on this is really valuable.
Well, I really think that people want to know because I mean, you're just curious about things like this because it's a job that hasn't been around for very long.
Right.
But no one really talks about it much, and I wish people would just because I mean, I say this a lot, but there's enough business for everybody.
Yeah.
And people are really worried about others competing with them and taking away things, but I really never have been because and I freely share it, especially like people ask me questions through messages a lot.
Sure.
And like how much I charge, that kind of thing. But I freely share it just because not many people do. And then it is like I went through the process of like, I have no idea how much to charge. I'm charging way less than I should be charging.
Right.
But I didn't know because I didn't have anyone, or I probably did. I just felt awkward asking.
Yeah, and that's kind of a lonely space or probably was when you first got started. Of even finding other girls who were Christian or believers. And so, kind of finding your niche community in a
Mhm.
way of followers and people who would be inspired by your lifestyle and certain standards that
Mhm.
you want to
Mhm.
follow. So, can you speak to that at all? Have you had to
Mhm.
adjust um, companies that you work with versus, collabs that you don't do?
Well, I'll say speaking about that, finding that. So when people ask me like, I want to start an like I want to start a blog or I want to be an influencer or whatever, which I do not even consider myself an influencer,
Oh,
but like, it just that word is just so funny to me. But I guess you at the end of the day you are influencing people whether
you
you
are.
like it or
Yes.
not, and you're
Right.
influencing from the bad or for the good, and you have
Yep.
that choice of what you want to if you want to do it for the good or the bad. But what I always tell people is just start posting what you love,
Yeah.
and the people that love those things as well will follow you, and the people that don't won't.
Yeah.
And it's okay if not everyone likes it because not everyone's going to like it.
Right.
And the great thing about Instagram is we have the option to follow someone or not. You
Uh-huh,
can
yeah,
unfollow people if you don't agree with what they're posting.
right.
And what's great about Instagram now is they have the mute button. That has been my favorite button ever because I'm a people pleaser and I don't want to
Yep.
unfollow people sometimes. But you can mute them whenever you don't agree with what they're posting and they have no idea that you did
Oh, okay, that's
that.
interesting, yeah.
It's really helpful, trust me. I went through this year, at New Year's, I went through a whole process of going through my Instagram because I really want my Instagram to be a place of inspiration because I spend so much time on it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do these days, and I definitely should spend less time than I do. But I wanted it to be a place of inspiration where I logged on and I either was seeing people's posts about their lives that I was actually invested in,
Sure.
family, friends, whatever, or their content brought me inspiration of some kind. So I really went through like a weeding process. But some people, you just, if you've had any contact with them at all or any interaction, you just feel bad to unfollow them. So the
Yeah.
mute button's really coming in handy
Oh,
for
the
that.
mute button, I love that.
And I don't mean anything bad about it. Just
No,
sometimes
that's
people change, and that's
yeah,
a good thing. But not,
yes,
you're not always going to line up with those
right.
people always.
And like you
Does that
said, it's
make sense?
your space and it's your mental health and it's you get to
Hmm.
decide who causes you to feel less about yourself, who causes you to have negative emotions or feelings. And if you are on
Yes.
this space so much because it is your job, then you want to be inspired and you want to be
Hmm.
encouraged. So,
And I also want to inspire, but like, I mean, I'm not just saying this, I don't feel offended when people unfollow me. Like, I really don't. And I'm really glad about that. But like, I had a girl message me a while back and she was just like, and it's someone that had really almost, I mean, you don't really consider them as a friend because you never really have met them or whatever, but
Right.
we've talked quite a bit through Instagram. Just she was always really responsive to my stories and stuff. Sweetheart. And she messaged me and she was just like, I just want to let you know that I'm unfollowing you and I really want to explain why. And she was like, I am at a place right now where I'm really unhappy with my life and I know that
Mm.
I need to pray about that, but your content is making me feel less than. And it made me feel so bad.
Mm.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it made me feel bad, but not mad at her. Like, I
Sure.
didn't feel bad
Yeah.
at her for doing that at all. But at the end of the day, I was like, I had to kind of reevaluate and like, am I just posting buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this?
Sure. Yeah.
Or, I mean, you got to be careful with that because, like I said, I post the things that I love.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just want to share the things I'm loving, but sometimes that, if you're not careful, can come across as materialism
Right.
galore.
Right.
And so, oh, there's a balance there. And I've had to kind of reevaluate every once in a while because I don't want to be a part of the world's influencers that are very materialistic. And you can get that vibe from them for sure. But anyway, I probably
Yeah.
rambled there,
No,
but
that's beautiful. Yeah,
yeah,
those are
you gotta be careful.
yeah, those are specific niche issues that only someone in your position would even have to consider
Mhm,
evaluating, and each
mhm,
profession has things like that where you don't wanna be portrayed a certain way or turn into this person. So having those
mhm,
checkpoints and those balances, I'm proud of that girl for doing what she needed to do
mhm.
for
Me
her
too.
mental health, and because we do see lots of issues with social media. There are some negative
Mhm.
aspects, but
100%.
being a page of just what you love, and that kind of ties into my next question. Sometimes I feel the pressure, which I am not an influencer, and the followers I have, I don't know why I have them because I barely post on Instagram, but
Girl,
it's
you are an influencer because you're influencing people. I have to tell myself that. At the end of the day, if you have a platform, you are influencing people,
yes.
and
Yeah, I
you
guess
are.
in the career form of
Mhm.
influencer, I'll put it that way.
Right.
Um, but sometimes I have felt that pressure to share things of my everyday life, and then I'm like, "Oh, but that's not pretty enough," or
Mhm,
that doesn't mean anything." And so
mhm,
when you go on a vacation or when you go, just throughout your day, I love how you said you've never put so much pressure on yourself because you're just sharing things you love. And I could see
mhm.
the opposite happening where someone gets so tired of not living in the moment where they feel like they have
Mhm.
to document everything. Have
Right.
you
Well, I will say, speaking of that, like you said, that I don't put much pressure on myself. I will say I come, these days, people throw around the word privilege quite a bit,
Sure,
but I do come from a place of privilege with that because my husband has a great job, and I've never had to make Instagram our full source
sure.
of income.
Yeah,
There's some people that do have that as their main source of income, so, and I know that. So I don't mind seeing more ads from them because I know that they're doing it to feed their children.
yes,
Like, I have a
absolutely.
dog, but I don't have children. So
I'm in the same
I
boat.
really I don't put pressure on myself because I know how I am. But then again, if I was having to rely on it more for income, because it has been great income for us and it has blessed us tremendously because having a dual income home. But thankfully, Ansley does have a great job. So if he somehow lost his job, my Instagram may look different,
Yeah,
if that
sure.
happened, because I would have to put more pressure on myself too. And I mean, that's how some people are. They'll message me and they're like, I'm this occupation or this occupation, and I just really want to spend more time with my children. And I'm looking into blogging, and I think that I could do it, but I'm just nervous. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I mean, that's heavy because I can't give you a lot of, I mean,
Yeah.
help there because I don't have
The
children
full
and
responsibility.
right, I
Yeah.
don't have that full responsibility. So I do want to kind of put a little disclaimer there when I say that, like, I don't put very much pressure on myself just because I know myself and I know that how I can get burnt out really easily.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, if I had to really rely on it more for income, then I think I would have to kind of reevaluate.
Yeah.
Again, I've said that a few times, but probably treat it a little bit more like a 9 to 5 type of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I love that this job, this passion for you cultivates freedom and flexibility with your
It
schedule.
does.
And there is
Mhm.
nothing to, I just say freedom is worth it all, in my opinion. And
It
so, but
is.
there are times as entrepreneurs where you have to work 9 to 5. I mean, truthfully, you're working 24/7 as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur. There is no
Well,
turn
you're
off
always
switch.
doing something,
Always.
like, for sure.
Yes, you have to figure out, is it your high payoff activity or is it low hanging
Mhm.
fruit, but you are
Mhm. Mhm.
always doing something.
Yes, you are.
So that's really inspiring, very
Well,
inspiring.
I
Well,
it's just kind of like you have to figure it out as you go with these things because, no, like I said, it hasn't been around for very long and stuff,
yeah,
and so I'm just kind of playing it by ear, but I
yeah,
knew I knew when I started it that I wanted to one day have a clothing brand. And so I like that was a stepping stone. And now like having my clothing store is a stepping stone. And so sometimes those goals that you have, they're going to take a while.
yeah,
So like, and I knew that it would take a while for me to build up to that, but the journey in between can be a great thing too, and
yes,
I'm
yeah,
really enjoying it. And I mean, like I said, we really have a lot of freedom, and we're so thankful for that. And it may look different in a couple years, like when we do have children and stuff. But for now,
sure,
I mean, it's busy, but it's not too busy. Like, I
yeah,
am so thankful that I'm not just going, going, going all the time just because my personality type doesn't handle that well. Some people need to feel that constant
yeah,
busyness. But, like, also these days, like, you are almost made to feel guilty if you're not busy all the time.
yeah, if you're not
And
hustling.
yes, like that
Mhm,
hustle culture,
yeah,
it can be a great thing for some people, but also, like, you have to know yourself and know what you can handle.
yeah.
And I'm pretty self-aware in some things, and I know that I would have a mental breakdown if
Sure,
I was just going, going, going all the time.
yeah,
And I don't know if you follow the Enneagram much, but I'm a 9. I'm
okay,
a peacemaker. I
yeah,
am like, whatever brings me peace first and foremost.
anti-conflict.
Yes. But, like, as we were saying earlier with the, like, dreading to tell
Yeah,
people how
I'm
much I
nervous to see
charge.
my quote.
Yeah. So, that comes I mean, I hate it when people blame their negative characteristics on the Enneagram. So,
Yes,
but I can definitely be oh, sorry, my Alexa
that's
went off.
okay.
But I can definitely put whatever brings me peace and comfort, foremost, and then
Yeah,
that can kind of translate to being a procrastinator and things like that. So that's
sure.
something I'm always working on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it just sounds like for your personality and you know yourself well enough to know what you can handle, that you're in a great field and you've cultivated kind of
Mhm.
what you know works for you and how you want your
Mhm.
life to be, and you're comfortable there. And I think
Yes.
that's a beautiful thing when you step into, for your personality type, for your lifestyle, what works.
Mhm.
And I
It
just have to say,
definitely does. I'm thankful because Ainsley, he's just the type that he's always looking for the next thing.
yeah,
And so he encourages me, which is a good thing because he pushes me in those areas of where I know sometimes that I need to work harder and stuff, but he is always very gently pressing me towards that. And that's good because I
yes,
tell him like I
yeah,
need that.
yep,
And so that's really helped me too with this. And I mean just with everything, he's been a great help with the business because he
yeah.
has a lot of time freedom too, thankfully. So
Awesome.
we're a team.
Yeah, sounds like a great pair. So, we've talked a lot about your job, which this is a professional podcast, so that's what we aim for.
Mhm.
Give us some insight on in Courtney Tolliver's life outside of Instagram. What other things are you involved in, maybe with church or other hobbies you have, maybe things you and your husband like to do?
With church, so we go to kind of a smaller church. I guess it'd be big to some people, but small to others. We have about 150, 200. But
Okay.
I sing and I'm
Awesome.
part of worship there. So that's definitely like a total different part of my life, but something
Yeah.
I don't really share as much on Instagram, but I do love my church very much and great people.
Yeah.
But I sing there quite a bit, and then with just hobbies and things, honestly, I can't really someone asked me the other day, it was like, "What's your hobbies?" And I was like, "I don't know." I There's so many things that I love, but it's just as far as, like, actually having hobbies, I
Yeah.
can't, like, think of them, but I always am,
You
like,
seem to
shopping.
decorate and, like, help out with wedding showers and plan things like that, which
Yes.
is really cool.
One one thing about our church is we are always doing something. Always. Whether it and it's like some churches, like, I mean, they just don't go all out for things, and that is totally fine. But like the women in our church, we like to
Aw,
decorate.
that's
So,
awesome.
well, for everything, we always kind of go all out. But I absolutely love helping with things like that. And my mother in law has a wedding business
Okay,
where she
awesome.
literally does it all. Like, she rents out the things, she sometimes she caters, rarely she caters, but she sets everything up as far as all the plates, the chairs, the tables,
Wow.
and then the floor. Okay, I will say I do have a new found hobby. Um, I love making flower arrangements, and
Aw,
she since she does the florals for a lot of the weddings, I've kind of taken over that part of it, and she kind of lets me do my thing with all of the floral arrangements, and we just had a wedding actually Saturday where I did all the floral arrangements for that wedding, but
nice.
that's been really fun just kind of every
Yeah,
once in a while because it's just I mean, if it was like a every weekend thing, that would be intense, but
exhausting, yes.
yes. But it's like even the other night I was saying, man, like if I ever needed to like have a s- you know source of income outside of the house, then I would love to
Yes.
have a floral shop just because I
Wow,
enjoy it so much.
that's
Which is funny
awesome.
because I never even knew that until just a few,
Yeah.
couple years ago, maybe. Whenever actually it was last year whenever I helped her with the first wedding. But anyway, so I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, that seems like a great outlet. And you're a creative, and that is another form of creativity where you
It
kind of
is.
get to put your own spin on things, and
Mhm.
that kind of falls in line with what something I think you would like to do. So that's really cool.
Mhm. I
Very
never
cool.
considered myself as a creative person, like, ever. And, like, with decorating and stuff, I was like, "Man, I have to look at so many pictures and all that
Yeah,
before I can finally get, like, a grasp
sure.
of what I like and what I want." But as I get older, I definitely take more chances with things and kind of
Yeah.
get out of my comfort zone, and I think that's where, like, true creativity comes
Yes,
in,
it does.
and
Yeah.
you I think it's one of those things you almost have to, like, practice because when you're
Yeah.
not used to it, you're just like, "I don't know what to do?" And then the more you decorate or the more you work on floral arrangements, whatever it may be, then that can definitely evolve to something else.
Yeah, that inspiration grows, that skill
Mhm.
grows along with, well, let me try this time. Let me change it up,
Mhm.
from the last time.
Mhm.
So cool. You have given us such great insight into the world of being an influencer as an occupation. I know you're still going to say, no, I'm not one. But, it's truly a field where a lot of people just don't know. And like I've said before, your space is very welcoming. It's very, I just feel like as a follower, trustworthy. If you recommend a product, I'm pretty apt to try it. And I was gonna
Thank
make a
you.
joke saying my husband doesn't appreciate the influence on our bank account by the products that I try. But I have learned to love a lot of the products that you recommend. And
Oh, well, that's
so
awesome to hear.
Yeah, as an influencer, I just want to say thank you for staying true to who you are. And you've worked hard to cultivate a positive space and a great following of ladies who are truly there and interested in your life. And it's uplifting. It's uplifting for ladies to see a lady of faith standing firm and just being comfortable in who she is. And I'm thankful to have, pun intended, your influence in our generation.
Well, that means a lot to me, honestly. I really do appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, I want to, we'll tag your store here whenever this episode goes live. We want to, bring followers to there, kind of shine some light on your new store there, and then your collab with Snoga. You've got some incredible Snoga athletic skirts, beautiful colors
Thank
that we keep
you.
seeing rolling out. So we'll do some tagging with that too and kind of boost your line. But as we wrap this up, I wanted to ask you a
Mhm.
question that we tend to end
Mm.
every podcast with. And if you've listened, then you might have a little inclination
Yes.
on what it is. She's like, I already have it written down. It's
Oh,
right here.
no, like, I was listening and I was like, "Man," I was like, "I'm really gonna try to be unique with my answer," and then I was like, "It's coffee."
I
No,
can't even ask the question.
I'm like, "Oh, yeah, go ahead and ask. Go
No, no, no.
ahead."
I love that you answered it beforehand.
Yes, what's saving my life is coffee and
It's
to-do lists. I will add
to-do
that.
list. Okay.
To-do lists because I am a list person, and I going back to the 9 thing, if I don't have a to-do list, then it is so easy for me to
It's
get distracted. So
sure.
every morning I'll write out a to-do list and I will really I'll try to do like the primary ones at the top to where the things I really need to get done. And
Yes.
then things at the bottom where I really would like to get these done too. So
Yeah.
to-do lists really help me. But also coffee just because I'm addicted and I'm not even gonna act like I'm not.
So for our listeners, tell us your go-to coffee concoction.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so I have I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Citiz or Cities. It's like
Okay.
Citiz.
Okay.
And it's the Nespresso machine. Anyway, I do one capsule of like the larger size of espresso, and then I add oat milk for
Mm.
creaminess, and then just a splash of the Silk Vanilla Almond Milk Creamer for
Ooh,
sweetness.
yum.
So that's the flavoring and the sweetness, and then the oat milk's for creaminess. So I have my little, layers, and then I always have it iced, hot or cold
Yep.
outside, always iced. So
Okay.
that's what I've been doing about every day, and I only allow myself one a day
Yep.
because I really don't think I'm addicted to the caffeine because I don't like I can go a few days without it and be fine. I just love the taste
Yeah.
so much. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
but I'm
that
not
is
gonna
the
let myself have
real
more than one.
you just let us in on the huge secret, the biggest secret of what is the real driving force behind Courtney Toliver, and that is
I was
her
like,
coffee
man,
concoction.
I really want to have something unique because I know that like everyone says coffee, but I was like, what else is there? I was like, I couldn't think of anything else besides coffee and to do lists.
It is true. We need to have, like, Starbucks or something sponsor this podcast
For
because
real.
we get coffee all the time, but you can't lie. That is truly what keeps people
No,
going. So,
it does. I'm like,
uh,
I thought about going off of it for a week because I think it really does affect like hormones and stuff with women. And so
sure.
I'm like, I want to see if some of the issues I'm having is related to caffeine or not. I went like a couple days and I was like, I'm
Not worth
fine.
it.
These hormonal issues aren't that big of a deal.
Everyone has hormonal issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, well, this has been a great episode. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share your journey with us and all of the exciting things you're doing. I think our listeners will really enjoy hearing the behind the scenes Courtney Tolliver and
Well,
just what it
I
takes.
really am honored.
Well, the Skirted Professional is better because of your episode. So, again, thank you so much, and we look forward to it going live.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation. It's so much fun.